Here we go. We're back at it. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. My name is Chase Senior, and as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. So many great content options out there, so I always appreciate when you decide to hang out here with us on Eagles Now. Coming up, another loaded show. We have a big Lane Johnson injury update after he left that Rams game early yesterday. Did you know this about what Quinyon Mitchell did yesterday? We'll dive into that. This Eagles offense finally got going. Kevin Patullo, good job by you. In addition to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts for making in-game adjustments. That's what this Eagles offense can be in 2025. And we'll just continue to recap this crazy win for Philadelphia. But you know the deal. This is a tradition on this show. It's a Victory Monday here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Go Birds. If you're still fired up about that epic comeback, and I know a lot of you are like me, we're still catching our collective breath, then I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video to celebrate this Victory Monday. And here on the channel, here on the program, we're doing all types of content. And if you're a diehard Eagles fan and you want the most elite coverage here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and join the party. Our Eagles-Rams watch party, it popped off. 170,000 people joined us throughout the day. Then we did an instant reaction post-game show, which we put up on the channel. We did that live, recapping that wild win. That's performing very well. And then last night during Sunday Night Football, I'm sitting on my couch watching the Giants lose to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I let that win marinate. And I put together a show explaining why that Eagles win even better than I thought. All of that content is up on the channel in case you missed it, and that's what we do here on the show because that is the standard. Let's begin here. What I loved about this win for the Birds, just an amazing comeback against an elite team. I do think the Rams are one of the top teams in the NFL, and Los Angeles goes up 26-9. The Eagles got their best shot, and Philadelphia still mounted that comeback where they scored 26 unanswered points to erase that 26-9 deficit. And this Eagles offense finally got going. They finally had explosive plays, and they finally lived up to the potential of all the talent that they have on the offensive side of the rock. And I think that is a sign of what is to come and what this offense is capable of. And if that is the case, my goodness, this Eagles team is going to be very difficult to game plan against and for, and they're going to be really hard to stop, especially when you factor in what this Eagles defense did yesterday. The Eagles defense kept Philadelphia in it. They bent, they did not break. And their ability to hold the Rams to so many field goals, and obviously the special teams unit, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, blocked 2 of those field goals. But the Eagles defense's ability to hold the Rams to field goals instead of touchdowns, that's big-time stuff, and they played so many snaps early in that game, yet they didn't wither, and they did not wear down. From Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni, they felt the heat in that first half, and during halftime, they had a very valuable conversation. The boos were raining down at Lincoln Financial Field, as they should have been, because the Eagles' offense was a joke. It was dog water. But in that second half, and it helped that the Eagles were down because they needed to work with tempo and they needed to spread things out, be a little bit more aggressive. These offensive weapons were utilized. A.J. Brown performed very well. DeVonta Smith had some really key catches. The pass game got going. So then Saquon Barkley was able to run it a little bit more effectively. And Jalen Hurts dazzled, playing like an MVP. And he has become the most clutch quarterback in football. Jordan Davis, what a story. It's not just the blocked field goal that he returned for a touchdown where he ran nearly 19 miles per hour at 330, 340 pounds. It's what he's doing as a run stopper, what he's doing as a pass rusher. It's what he's doing as an every down player. Jordan Davis, to start his career, wasn't in good enough shape, and his conditioning wasn't to a level where he could be on the field every down. Now he is, because he's in better shape. He's slimmed up his body, and he is playing like an all-pro, and he has been the MVP, the anchor of the Eagles defense through the first 3 games here in 2025. This was also another character-building win. When you win in epic fashion like this can get the confidence rolling. and the ball rolling. You find out a lot about yourself as a team. Jalen Hurts said that after the game. The Eagles found out a lot about themselves as an offense. This can springboard them for the rest of the year because they realize what they have to do, who they can become, and most importantly, they have confidence now. Really like the in-game adjustments from Philadelphia. And I know Vic Fangio has said that halftime adjustments specifically are overrated, but the Eagles did make in-game adjustments. Toward the end of the game, they got a little bit better against the run defensively after they were leaky there. Offensively, obviously, they made a bunch of adjustments with their overall philosophical approach, their play calling, and their execution. Special teams-wise, you're blocking field goals because of preparation and what you're noticing on prior field goal attempts during the game. And so this Eagles coaching staff, I've said it, led by Nick Sirianni, one of the best in the NFL. And they outcoached another Rams team that, led by Sean McVay, is looked at as one of the best coaching staffs in the NFL. And I am a huge fan of playing complementary football because it helps you win and gives you a chance week in and week out. Offense, defense, special teams. The Eagles, they passed the test in all of those categories. As for that aforementioned Lane Johnson injury update, this is a big update on the Lane train, considering what this could have been, because we were definitely concerned as he left that game early on yesterday. Lane Johnson left early in the first quarter with what was deemed a neck injury. He did not return, and so Matt Pryor first replaced him at right tackle, and then Fred Johnson came in to start the second half in the third quarter. That's another in-game adjustment right there. Just has to do with personnel. Lane has been diagnosed with a stinger, according to reports. He expects to play in Week 4 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's expected to be back anchoring the right side of that line of scrimmage next week in Tampa. We saw Lane Johnson's impact on display yesterday, and throughout his entire Eagles career, Philadelphia's offense has been a completely different unit when he's on the field compared to when he's hurt. And sometimes you don't realize that for an offensive lineman because a lot of fans are just following the ball. But the right tackle position and both tackle positions have become so incredibly important, especially in the modern era of offensive football when it's become very much pass happy. But really, this is something that has become so important and has been important throughout the entire history of the NFL. But with Lane Johnson, sometimes you don't realize his impact. Sometimes you don't realize how great of a player he is until he goes out. And then you see a player like Matt Pryor have to line up one-on-one against Jared Verse, one of the top young defensive players in football, and you see Matt Pryor getting bulldozed and bullied. And then Jalen Hurts is getting sacked left and right. One time he fumbled. And then you realize, man, the Eagles are really missing Lane Johnson out there. And once he went out, there was a span in the first half where the Eagles ran 9 plays for -9 yards. Consecutive 3 and outs over and over again. They couldn't do anything on the offensive side of the football. Philadelphia, without Lane Johnson in that first half, outgained 212 to 33 yards. Entering Sunday, Philadelphia 104-55-1 with Lane Johnson, 15-23 without him. And their points per game with him, much higher compared to when Lane Johnson is not on the field. And so the fact that he's going to be back quickly, expects to play Week 4 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a huge boost and a huge sign. Big news for this Eagles offense moving forward. And this goes to show you the relentless nature of Howie Roseman and how he thinks, right? The Eagles, prior to trimming their roster to 53 players, didn't need to trade for Fred Johnson, who signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars this offseason, but they did because they looked at Fred Johnson as an insurance policy. They had familiarity with the player. When Lane Johnson went out last year, Fred Johnson played really well. When Jordan Mailata didn't play against the Bengals, Fred Johnson filled in at left tackle. He shut down Trey Hendrickson and did not give up a sack. The Eagles could have moved forward with Matt Pryor and Kendall Lamb, Cameron Williams, Myles Hinton as backup offensive tackles, but Howie said, we really value this position. We know Fred Johnson very well. He's played well in our scheme. Jeff Stoutland likes him. He's available for an affordable price. Probably won't have a big role with Jacksonville. Let's go get him. And the Eagles gave up pretty much nothing to bring in Fred Johnson, and he helped the offensive turnaround solely in that second half. He played so much better in place of Matt Pryor after Pryor was benched, and he said after the game, my number was called, I did what I had to do, I knew I had to play well, and he played well. He was big time in that second half. And now you know if Lane goes out, you have a pretty solid insurance policy in Fred Johnson with how he played yesterday, but how he played last year as well. And again, you're barely paying him anything. And now, next week, week 4, the 3-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers await in Tampa. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. For a team that obviously is from the Northeast, it's never easy to go to Tampa, especially in the month of September, and play there. So the elements are going to be difficult, right? Because the weather and the humidity is something that people from the Northeast aren't used to. But the Buccaneers as a team, also really good. They're 3-0. And they're one of the last few undefeated teams left in the NFL. They have had the Eagles' number over the last few years. Another reason why this Eagles win over the Rams is so huge. They lose that game, they're in danger of going 2-2. Now at 3-0, you earn yourself some wiggle room if you do drop this game against Tampa. But from a confidence standpoint and a mental standpoint, Philadelphia wins that game against the Rams. They are now very motivated to go down to Tampa and give the Buccaneers their best shot because of how they have fared against Tampa. They have not played well against Baker Mayfield and Todd Bowles of late. All right, let's get to this as well. Remember in training camp how Vic Fangio was testing out using Quinyon Mitchell as a hovering corner who would travel from the left side to the right side depending on what some of the elite wide receivers in the NFL were doing? And in this era of a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of offensive coaches and a lot of play callers will have some of their top wide receivers line up all over the field. And sometimes corners will travel with them. Sometimes corners will solely stay on one side of the field. For instance, last year, Quinyon Mitchell primarily played at right corner. What did he do yesterday against DeVonta Adams? He traveled with him. And this is what upper echelon elite corners do. And Quinyon Mitchell helped to shut down DeVonta Adams, who still is one of the top wide receivers in the game. Next gen stats. Quinyon shadowed DeVonta Adams on 27 of 34 routes in week 3. That's good for 79.4%. It was the first game of his career where he shadowed a receiver on over 60% of their routes. Mitchell matched up against Adams 22 times after the snap, allowing just 2 receptions for 12 yards on 5 targets. Adams' only other reception came on that 44-yard touchdown against Reed Blankenship, a borderline PI. What a huge performance from Quinyon Mitchell yesterday. And the Eagles able to limit DeVonta Adams to only 3 catches for 56 yards, and a lot of them came on that touchdown. And when you think about elite corners throughout the course of NFL history, the best ones, they travel with some of the top wide receivers. Quinyon did that yesterday, and I think this is a sign of things to come. Vic Fangio put him to the test, and Quinyon Mitchell passed that test. Still to come here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. The Eagles offense finally got going, and we're going to continue to talk about this crazy, crazy win for Philadelphia. But first, today's sponsor for Philadelphia Eagles Now, fittingly, Tushy. And this is coming for an Eagles team that has dominated by running the tush push, and the tush push has become the center of the NFL conversation once again. Save big on Tushy by using the code CHAT at hellotushy.com/chat. Are you familiar with their product and their bidets? Men will life hack everything but their toilet paper consumption. Using a Tushy bidet means you leave the bathroom so much cleaner than when you walked in. You don't know what I'm talking about? Let's get into it here. Tushy is the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and bottom health for life. 99% of people who wash with Tushy Wave feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom. Tushy Wave instantly modernizes your daily routine and bathroom with a super sleek seat, plus 2 separate front and rear nozzles for the most complete clean. It also features a soft close lid and seat that's slam-proof for a gentle, luxurious finish. Don't you hate going to the bathroom and sometimes the lid smashes down, especially in the middle of the night? You're like, I didn't want to hear that. It's too loud. Doesn't happen with the Tushy. Every Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. And let's be real. If you were at the Eagles game yesterday, you're taking down a lot of food and beers. I imagine going to the bathroom the next day might be a little bit messy. If you're enjoying a football Sunday, eating a bunch of wings, not the best food, your poop's probably going to be a little bit disgusting, right? Not with the Tushy bidet. This is daily decadence for practical benefits. Over half of the people who wash with Tushy soothe their hemorrhoids, and 9 out of 10 people reduce itching and discomfort. Instead of wiping endlessly with toilet paper, Tushy pristinely removes 99% of bacteria while protecting your natural skin barrier thanks to one natural ingredient. It's only fresh water. Installation is simple. Takes about 10 minutes to complete. Literally anybody can do it. This fits in 95% of toilets. It's fresh as tap water. No outlet needed. 8.5 minute do-it-yourself install. This is the modern bidet, and you have to get it and use it. You will not regret it. HelloTushy.com/chat. Remember, a-hole is only a dirty word if you wipe for a limited time. Here's the deal. Our listeners, our viewers get 10% off their first bidet order when you use the code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at HelloTushy.com/chat. Use the promo code CHAT. We'll put that information down below in the show notes and attached to the pinned comment of today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, all right, we move forward here. Finally, this Eagles offense came alive in the second half against the Los Angeles Rams. Jalen Hurts, I thought, played MVP football after recess. He was fantastic in that second half. 16 of 22, 204 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a rating of 140.9. This was against a Rams defense that entered Sunday as the number 1 defense in the National Football League. And finally, Jalen Hurts gave A.J. Brown some opportunities. Now, A.J. had a lack of production going into Sunday because of play calling, the scheme, some of the route concepts, but I also had said this. Jalen Hurts needs to give him opportunities to make plays. If he's not open, giving him opportunity on some of those 50-50 balls. Throw the back shoulder because A.J. Brown with the size and physicality can win those routes. And the first splash play of the year, when Hurts threw it to A.J. down that sideline, it was good coverage. But it was a dime of a throw from Jalen, and A.J. Brown was able to box out the DB and bring in that catch with one hand, and that got the Eagles offense going. That gave the Eagles offense some momentum. And it was a star-studded performance for AJ. 10 targets, 6 catches, a $109, and that back shoulder ball for a touchdown in which he got physical and bodying up the DB who flopped. And I thought AJ Brown after the game made a valid point about this Eagles offense. Me personally, I truly believe we've got so many good players on this team. And at times you can feel like we're being conservative, and I don't think it should be like that. Let your killers do their thing, play fast, and play aggressive. I'm not saying that we haven't been, but me personally, that's what I would like. And I think A.J. Brown shared frustrations and a thought process that we all had going into yesterday, that we were saying during that first half when the Eagles offense was listless, right? I think all of us realize this. And this is why all of us have been frustrated. Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, you have A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley. This offensive line, which I will say has to play better. Use your weapons. Let your dogs be dogs. Let your dogs eat and be aggressive. Don't play overly conservative. I get that Philadelphia wants to win the turnover battle. I believe they are now 35-2 when they win the turnover battle. And I get it. When you win the turnover margin in the NFL, you win about 80% of games. But you can't play offensive football like you played the first 2 weeks of the year and then the first half against the Rams. It's just not sustainable. You have all these mouths to feed, so feed them and get creative. Be aggressive. And the style of offensive football that the Eagles played in that second half, That's what we're seeing across the league. I mean, that is modern offensive football. And that is a sign of what I believe can come for this Eagles offense. And that's who they can be here in 2025. And on top of what AJ said, I like what Jalen Hurts had to say. And clearly AJ and Jalen are directing this toward the coaching staff. And I imagine there's an open line of communication and they're going to have these conversations with the coaching staff. They probably had those conversations during the game yesterday. You saw Hurts going up to Kevin Patullo, Jerome Singleton, the running backs coach, saying, we got to be aggressive. Put it on my plate. I can handle this. And Hurts even said it. We have to stop playing to lose. We have to stop being overly conservative. And the aggressiveness is what allowed Philadelphia to climb back in the game and score those 26 unanswered points. And it was a big week for passing charts last week. I had one that went viral on Twitter for like 500,000 views because everybody was saying after 2 weeks, Jalen Hurts' passing charts, they're a joke. He's not making throws downfield. He's not capable of doing it. Then we saw what Josh Allen did on Thursday night where all of his throws were short. And so I made a joke showing Josh Allen's passing chart, saying that Jalen Hurts' passing chart was a joke, but it was Josh Allen's. Jalen Hurts is capable of doing this. We have seen this throughout his NFL career. It's all about just doing it, right? Giving your weapons an opportunity to make plays, drawing up, devising plays and routes in order to really test the defense. Force them to cover every blade of grass from sideline to sideline and vertically. But look at this passing chart right here. I mean, this is a thing of beauty where you were seeing throws over the middle. I asked for that in the lead up to this Rams game. You're seeing throws to the right, throws to the left. You're seeing layered throws. You're seeing deep shots. And 21 of 32, 226, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Completion percentage over expected of plus 3.3%. Hurts was throwing some dimes. I want to see more of this. Now, sometimes it's all dictated by how the defense covers Philadelphia. And in the first 2 weeks of the year, they were getting blitzed a lot. And they were seeing a lot of zone. But when you play offensive football like this, it alters what the defense thinks of you and how they defend you. And Nick Sirianni even said after the game that we learned a valuable lesson. You can't always let the defense dictate how you call your offense. And I think this just freed up the Eagles' offensive thinking yesterday. As for what Nick Sirianni said about this win, quote, I'll always remember this win. I think we all will, right? It was pandemonium, craziness at Lincoln Financial Field. You saw how the Eagles as a team responded once Jordan Davis blocked that field goal and then returned it. By the way, go back and watch that play. Jacorian Bennett made the return possible. The holder tried to pick up the ball. Jacorian Bennett just wiped him out and leveled him. Then Big JD, a scoop and score, big boy touchdown. The crowd going crazy. The Eagles as a team going crazy. And the aura at the stadium was nuts. And I talked about this after the game last night with the YouTube short and then during the late night video. Like, where does that W rank among some of the most epic, crazy, improbable Eagles regular season victories, right? To me, it had vibes of that early season Jake Elliott 61-yarder against the Giants in 2017, which really propelled the Eagles the rest of the way. Right then and there, they believed we have something special going on. You make a play like that, I think the Eagles realize we have something special going on. And so the Jake Elliott 61-yarder, the significance of that victory, how it ended with that field goal at the buzzer, that was a great regular season win. This had the vibes of like Miracle at the Meadowlands #2, the Deshaun Jackson, punt return for a touchdown against the Giants where Tom Coughlin was like, are you kidding me? I told you not to punt it to D-Jack. And you did, and you returned it, and that capped off a crazy Eagles comeback. So the punt or the field goal block really capped off another improbable Eagles victory, and it has to be up there as one of the best, most memorable Eagles victories of all time. And Nick Sirianni even said it himself. It's going to be up there for him. All right, let me know. Do you want another Eagles Now show a little bit later today? If you do and you made it until the end of the video, I want you to type one more down in the comment section. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.